Hi, how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again with a preview for tomorrow's game at St James's Park. It's the top of the table clash between Newcastle United and Arsenal, and it's a game I'm massively looking forward to. Can we cause more Gunners' tears? Can we have a repeat of last season? It is literally all or nothing for Arsenal because a defeated Tyneside, and you know, if it wasn't already a pipe dream, if it already wasn't a tall order, it'll be literally mission impossible if they don't get the points on Tyneside tomorrow. Manchester City absolutely steamrolling towards another league title. It's been a much better season for Arsenal, but it looks like they are going to fall short. And Newcastle United get the chance to put the final nail in the coffin, as we did last season when we absolutely battered them away. We deserved everything on the night. We were a million times, never mind 10,000 times, Mikael, we were a billion times better than Arsenal on that particular evening. What an atmosphere, one of the very best at St James's Park in quite a while. We beat them, you know, we continued our fantastic form, and we were to deny Arsenal Champions League football. So this season, it's a bit of in a way, a bit of a repeat at the same, you know, same stage of the season. Business end. Arteta bringing Arsenal up, knowing that they need the points, and Newcastle United going great guns, played some very, very good football. So yeah, a repeat of the same result will do me absolutely fine. And I think if we have a similar performance like we did last time against them, if we have a similar sort of wall of noise, a show of colour from the you know, the stands, the flags getting waved and everything, then I am 1,000% confident that we can get the result against, you know, against this lot. They are having a little bit of a wobble recently, but you know, we have to respect them, but we also must remain confident, because at the end of the day, you know, nobody likes coming to St James's Park from an away opposition point of view these days. Look at what we did to Spurs. Look at what happened to Manchester United. Our home record, our forming, you know, throughout the season has been fantastic. What, 4 defeats all season? We're in May. We're literally at the drag ends now of the season. It's a magnificent achievement. We're scoring goals. And despite the fact that teams know what we're going to do, they just haven't got a way to counteract what we are doing on the football pitch at the moment. We've got players playing at the very, very top of the game. We've got players playing out of the skin. We've got some of the best players in the Premier League playing for Newcastle United, and it's just absolutely fucking fantastic. It really is. And it's been a pain waiting all this time, you know, since last weekend, for another installment, for another chapter of this great season. But yeah, tomorrow promises so much, but what it will not bring is certainly any of the Galacticos to St James's Park. We'll get on to Eddie's press conference. Eddie Howe had his normal press conference on Friday and was asked about the fact that we've been linked to Messi, Neymar and Ronaldo by quite a lot of the press over the you know, the last week or so. He was quick to shoot those rumours down, still talk about FFP and about putting, you know, the foundations in place and brick by brick building up this you know, new Newcastle United and everything. Spoke about that, so it was a no to them lads, but it was a yes to another one. Not a Galactico, but Paul Dummett. And it doesn't make sense if you think about it in the biggest scheme of it. Obviously, Paul Dummett's coming to the end of his contract. He spoke about that. Spoke about the positive effect that he's had in the background. How, you know, he's been fit literally all of the season. Unlike, you know, other campaigns, he has been fit. He just hasn't been selected. There's been others who've been playing better, you know, in front of him in the pecking order, and he's had to remain patient. But really spoke Paul Dummett up over the course of his press conference, and it was just funny, like literally just coming after Messi. No to Messi, but yes to Paul Dummett. But you know, with regards to homegrown quarters and also quarters even, and then you're sort of thinking about building that squad up as well, and having players who are happy to be on the sideline and to be there and ready if called upon, but not complain if he's not in the team all the time. Then it sort of makes a little bit of a sense in that way. You know what I mean? Yeah, Paul Dummett isn't going to be complaining if he's not in the starting 11 or whatever. but he certainly will be on the bench for tomorrow's game. Jamal Lascelles out for the season, still no Emil Kraft. However, there was positive news with regards to other injuries in the squad. Alan St Maximin's been back on Tyneside, and Eddie spoke about the fact that he's looking literally back on fire. We all know what the form was like before he got injured. After he'd had a run of games, I thought he looked absolutely fantastic. He was such a threat. He was such a worry for opposition defenders. The latest injury come at such a bad time for St Maximin, but you know, he said he's looked great in training this week, so that's really positive to hear, and I expect him to be back in and amongst the substitutes for this weekend. And what a great option it will be off the bench, and what will it be like for Arteta, you know, if it's a tight game, you know, even if we have got a goal or two when we're ahead and then we're able to bring St Maximin on, what a fantastic option to be able to do, especially when they are short of a few numbers as well. Again, talk about these psychological advantages, these psychological blows, that would definitely be one. I mean, being able to bring on St Maximin in the second half is a quality substitute, there's no doubt about it. I don't care if you're Newcastle United, Arsenal, Manchester City, whoever it is, it's a top quality replacement to have. So I expect St Maximin on the bench tomorrow. That was a positive. Sean Longstaff, it was also positive with just a little hint of hesitation as a bit of a side note. He was expected to be in training on Friday and Saturday. If that's the case and he's come through that okay, then expect him to start, because he really is the glue, the Geordie DNA in that team. We did a piece on that that we put up on Magpie 24/7. Jack did for us. So if you haven't already, check that out. Talking about the importance, he's off the ball stuff, and you know, him being in and doing the spade work basically allows for all the other players, your Brunos of this world, the Joe Lintons, the Willocks, to get further forward and to impact the game in the final third and to be the difference maker. So it's really, really important, it's a great timely boost to have Sean back in amongst it. And I think if he is fit, it gets brought straight back into the team for me, and I think that'll be the same for Eddie Howe, to be honest. A lot of what Sean Longstaff does goes unnoticed because it's the unfashionable side of football, but it's so important and so effective, and so necessary in the system that we have got to have a type of player in there like him. And I don't think anybody else offers us in our squad what he is able you know, to do, and it also frees up Joe Linton as well. I'll get to what I think the team's going to be in a little bit, but it was good to hear that you know, he had nothing broken. It's a fucking miracle, to be honest, because how we didn't get a penalty for that tackle on Sean Longstaff that potentially caused the injury, I do not know. You know, and I thought we missed him against Southampton, especially in the first half. It just wasn't working. It wasn't the same Newcastle United machinery, or Arsenal, if you will, going forward. But look, we found a way last time out. We got the victory again, and that's the sign of a fantastic team to be able to do that when not playing your best. But I think Sean comes back into the team. I'll get on to how I think it'll go in a little bit. But apart from that, it was another very positive press conference. You know, Eddie Howe spoke about the likes of Sam Allardyce recently coming back, and how Sam's been comparing himself and fucking dick measuring against all the other managers. So I'm not doing any of that. I'm not dick measuring. He's confident in he's confident in himself, looking after himself and everything else. And he just said, look, my lads are ready. They're up for the challenge. It's been an amazing season, and it really hasn't. Whatever the result tomorrow, it has been a great season, and I'm still confident that we will get the 2 victories that we will need to get Champions League. Without goal difference, I think 2 victories will be enough in the end of the day, between now and the end of the season. And then not even a dodgy refereeing performance for Liverpool will be enough to save them. They are not getting out of it that easy. Unbelievable scenes at Anfield. It really was. A penalty for absolutely nothing absolutely nothing. Literally, somebody could have farted on that lad and he'd have fucking fallen over. Fulham absolutely robbed. But one team who also weren't robbed during the week, of course, was Brighton. Brighton getting the victory over Manchester United, and that keeps Newcastle United in third, 2 points clear of Manchester United, having played the same amount of games. And it's going to be a fascinating nip and tuck type situation between now and the end of the season to see who finishes not only in the Champions League, because I'm confident that we'll do that, but ultimately who finishes third and who finishes fourth. And it's that extra few million quid and that extra little bit of bragging rights at the end of the season. That's just what it's all about at this stage of the game type thing. So yeah, the games are running out. Can't wait to City St James's Park tomorrow. I'm hoping everything crossed that the atmosphere is as it was last season, as it was against Manchester United. An absolute fucking bear pit, a cauldron of noise, and really get into these bastards. And you know, with the recent little wobble that they've had, with the injuries that they've got a few late fitness tests, just get amongst them. Play what we've been playing, do what we've been doing, and I think we will come good. I think there will be goals in the game, and Newcastle United will edge it. I'll go 2-1. I think there'll be goals either which way. Arsenal have got goals in them. Newcastle United have got goals in them, and they've got goals in them from all sorts of angles. And like I say, they will be shitting themselves heading up to Tyneside at the moment. Literally, they'll be like, oh God, anybody else but them. Anybody else. They'll have been looking at the recent videos, the recent action from St James's Park and the victories over Southampton, the victories over Manchester United, and they'll be scratching their head. And yeah, great time. It is a fucking great time to be a Newcastle United fan. Can we take another mammoth step towards Champions League qualification? Europe, of course, already in the bag at this stage. A form of European competition. So like I say, hopefully everybody's got them passports up to date, dusted off, ready for trips to Italy, to Spain, to Germany, to Holland. Who knows which far-flung corner of the continent that we'll be sent to. But yeah, cannot fucking wait for it, and I can't wait for tomorrow. Team news, I think the defence is going to be the defence as is pretty much always. There is a few aches and pains and stuff like that Eddie Howe spoke about, but I expect them to be shaken off. It'll be Nick Pope in the middle of our goal, Kieran Trippier on the right hand side, team of the season, and all Kieran Trippier who will be on the right hand side of the defence. Our captain, Fabian Schär. It's been a long day, I've been very busy. Fabian Schär, Sven Botman and Dan Burn. Matt Target obviously still sitting on the bench. In midfield, Sean Longstaff, I 100% expect to be back. So Sean Longstaff will come in and he'll do his normal Sean Longstaff type of things. Playing beside Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Willock. Willock will swap pardon me. Joe Willock will swap with Joe Linton, who will be on the left hand side. I'd imagine he'd be starting on that left hand side. And on the other side, well, there's a number of contenders. You've got Anthony Gordon, you've got Miggy, but you've also got Jacob Murphy. Now I could see Miggy coming in for his work rate, I really can. You know, he'll track backwards and forwards and he's great if we've got our backs against the wall a little bit to be able to get the ball and spring forward. But I'm going to go with Jacob Murphy still retaining his place and his rebirth and his reimagination of everything to continue on the right hand side. Now up top you've got a mammoth battle, a huge battle in between Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak. I do not think in this game that he will start both Isak and Wilson, so that's why I've gone with what I've gone with, and my thought patterns towards what I think Eddie Howe will go with. I don't think he's going to start both of them in this game. I think we might see it in the second half, especially if we need a goal, especially if it's a tight game, we need the goals. I think we might see it at that point. But I think Joe Linton out wide left, Jacob Murphy on the right, and up top in this game where you're going to want a focal point type striker, I've got a feeling it's going to be Callum Wilson, the leading scorer, who's starting Isak on the bench, which won't satisfy a lot of people. There'll be a lot of head scratching about, but I just think that that's what Eddie Howe will go with. Callum Wilson will use his physicality and he'll batter the Arsenal defence, and he will stretch them left, he'll stretch them right, he'll make them work, he'll tire them out, and then you'll see Alexander Isak brought in the second half on the left hand side. There might be a little bit of a jig in midfield. I don't know if Sean Longstaff's going to last the entire game, so that's why I'm thinking there may well come a point where there is a rejig and Joe Linton's brought more centrally. Sean Longstaff comes off and maybe bring Isak on the left-hand side of midfield. And then he goes at Arsenal. And again, I just feel confident that we have got more than enough in our armoury to hurt them. And they will be worrying about Isak, about Wilson, his fantastic goal scoring form. A brace tomorrow by Callum Wilson, and he actually overtakes another 2 Newcastle United players. I think one of them's Nobby Solano, and the other one escapes me at the moment, but I shall get that graphic up because I've got that put to one side. But he gets to overtake another 2 places on our all-time Premier League goal scoring records. And slowly but surely is going to be catching up to that Shola Amiobi in that second berth, your Beardsley's of the world, and so on and so forth. And he's going to be sitting there just behind Alan Shearer. If he continues at this rate next season, early next season, I can see Callum Wilson just sitting there behind Alan Shearer. And what an absolute fantastic striker. And you know, whether you're in the Isak camp or the Wilson camp, or you think both should start, you've got to take your hat off to Callum Wilson. He just comes back all the time and he keeps scoring the goals. He keeps knocking the chances in. And he has been one of the best strikers that we have had. You know, he's up there with the very best. You know, we've had some good strikers. We've had even your Denver Bars, your Pape Cisses, your Ferdinands, your Coles. You know, we're talking about that type of player just behind. I mean, Shearer was literally different gravy, the best to me that's just ever done it. But in that sort of second group, just literally behind, is your like your Callum Wilson's. He's certainly up there with your Cisses and your Denver Bars and the likes of, you know, fantastic goal scorers for Newcastle United. So it's great, and it'll be fantastic seeing him sitting there as the second, you know, just behind the great man Alan Shearer. That'll be fantastic. But yeah, a brace tomorrow, 2 goals tomorrow, and he jumps up another 2 places for the 2 players who were tied just above him, equal on goals. So like I say, I'll bring that graphic up somewhere somewhere amongst it all. But the most important thing is just to get the result. Doesn't matter if it goes in. It's a 1-0 victory and it goes in off Pope's arse in the 92nd minute. It really doesn't. As long as the Newcastle United player scores and we keep a clean sheet, which we haven't been doing recently, we could do with trying to keep a clean sheet tomorrow, although I'm not predicting that we will. It would be great if we could, to sort of break that little cycle of little off moments during games, daft goals conceded, sloppy goals conceded. We seem to be conceding more than what we were earlier on during the season. But look, ultimately, it's about getting that balance between attack and defence right. We went through a little period where we couldn't score, we were too defensive. We've moved the goalpost a little bit further forward, you know what I mean, and as a result we're scoring shitloads, but we are letting in the odd goal, the odd moment of madness type thing. So it's just something we need to keep our eyes on. But look, if we're scoring goals when we're outscoring people, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. The new generation of entertainers, they are certainly fucking entertaining us at St James's Park. And let's hope we add another just great chapter to it tomorrow. Everything crossed that Sean Longstaff comes through his training sessions and he's okay to resume a normal role in Newcastle United's central midfield. And we get closer towards finishing the season off. We, you know, in being in the Champions League with games to spare, hopefully at this rate, and then a summer of further strengthening, exciting deals being announced, lots of speculation this week about who will be the new front of shirt sponsor. Will it be, I think the company called Imar, might have pronounced it wrong. There's BN who's been linked, Qatar Airways have been linked, all sorts of Middle Eastern companies, all vying, all competing, all wanting their name, their brand front and centre on the Newcastle United strip for next season, which is bound to be a huge seller, not only on Tyneside, not only throughout UK and Europe, but also in the Middle East as well. So exciting times for the club, on the pitch, off the pitch, work at the training ground, work at St James's Park, work on getting new players in, speculation mania all over about transfers, Newcastle United scouts getting the fucking air miles in, seeing games on this continent, that continent, Steve Nixon being in Brazil watching players. You know, we've gone from, just remember, we've gone in the space of under 2 years from not being able to afford loan fees to literally larging it up all around the world and looking for the cream of the crop, for looking at the best backroom staff that there is, and literally sweeping everything up. It's exciting times, and it's so great to look at the table and see us up there competing, and to see others as well. You know, it's not just ourselves, but the likes of Brighton and stuff, just shaking up the traditional tired big six, the greedy six, the six who tried to shag the rest of the other 14 over with this fucking Super League. It is great to see different names up there competing, and other teams who have traditionally been up there struggling, like Chelsea, down at the bottom half of the table. Happy days, long may it continue. It's just so refreshing. But we'll be back after the game tomorrow with a review. We'll have the videos from inside of the ground, trying to sample the flavour of the atmosphere for you. We'll have the drive home thoughts, the full review just as soon as we can after the game as well. In the meantime, please do subscribe to all the Magpie 24/7 channels, social media platforms. It really does mean a lot. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, we're pretty much there. YouTube especially, we are trying to push that one on as much as possible. We've got some new exciting stuff to come online shortly, especially on the YouTube, try and get that going even better. Some competitions, some giveaways and stuff, as well as we get towards the end of the season and into an exciting summer. So stick with us on Magpie 24/7. Hit the like, get the comments down below. Who would you start in the team? Who needs to come out? Who needs to come in? What's the result going to be tomorrow? Hit the subscribe button as well. Please do that. It doesn't cost you anything at all. It just massively helps out with the algorithm and letting others being able to find us as well. Appreciate that really greatly. So if you could do that for us, thank you very much. And in the meantime, take care, keep it fucking Toon, and I'll speak to you later.